Quarantine crafts. Today I'm going to be going over pressing flowers and how to do so properly so that they turn out right. So I have been pressing flowers for a long time, and I've recently seen it pop up in trends over whether it's Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, of these, what some people would call grammar crafts or cottagecore, or just for their own aesthetic. Now, I have been doing this, like I said, for about 10 years, and these flowers are that old. I went into my basement this morning to go and get supplies for this video and the things I would need to press flowers. I went into my basement and I got these textbooks from when my mom was in Holland studying abroad for a floral degree, and so they're huge flower textbooks about flowers. And I was looking through them, just to make sure they were cleaned out, and they weren't. They had pressed flowers in them from 10 years ago. And I got a little bit emotional. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, that's a decade ago. Huh, wow, okay. Well, this is gonna be something really cool to share. So I don't know if you can see these on the contrast, but I put a black piece of paper behind some of these white flowers and the purple flowers for contrast so that you can see the difference. Now these flowers are paper thin, like they look like the normal flowers, right? But they are paper thin because they were pressed properly without disturbance, and they turned out really well. They've been very durable over these years because they have been stored in the proper ways of storing pressed flowers so that they don't break, snap, or just kind of crumble together and make folds you don't want. Now I'm going to be going over the difference between hanging flowers and pressed flowers real quick. Hanging flowers is when you hang a bundle of either bulkier flowers like roses or just the big puffball flowers, those. And you hang them from either your curtain rods or a hanger in a closet that you won't move. And these are some tea roses that I have hung for about a month, and they dry. And they keep their pretty color and shape of a rose, like a rose would actually look. These are also, this is probably going to fall apart as I'm taking it out, but this is a bigger white rose that has been hung, and it has been dried. It's a white rose, so it took a yellower color because that's how they form, as you'll see with the pressing flowers. The darker pigments will keep their color better, and the lighter ones will turn out more yellowish or cream color. But I love pressing flowers, and I feel like it's a really good way to keep a little memory of the past, or just have something nice in your house that wasn't very hard to make. So what you're going to need for pressing flowers is some heavy weights like textbooks, or here, under these textbooks I have a block, if you can see that, and you would need about 2 or 3 of these blocks and some parchment paper. This parchment paper, you can also use tissue paper, but it would have to be white, not a colored tissue paper, so that you don't stain some of these more white flowers. But you're going to want this parchment paper, and you're going to put it, you're going to have 2 pieces, right? And you're going to put 1 piece under the flower and 1 piece over the flower. And you're going to have these blocks stacked up. Even if you don't have many wood blocks, heavy wood blocks like I do, you can also use bricks or rock or anything you want to do to weight these flowers down, which they are going to need heavy weight so that they press and they stay pressed. You can also use textbooks like I had gone over. You should use your, parchment paper so that the flowers, they're obviously wet, they have water in them. Do not stick to your textbook pages or ruin your textbooks. But you would want to space these flowers out in your textbooks, between pages. And you're going to want to stack a couple textbooks on top of them if you're using that form of pressing. Now, let's go press some flowers. back at my desk, I have my medicine bottle full of flowers, and I put these flowers in here so they can sit overnight. Like, I got half of these flowers from my grandma's garden the other day, and so they could keep. And medicine bottles are, usually something you can find around the house, or just any skinny water container to keep your flowers fresh. Now I'm going to put my flowers on this paper towel so that they will dry off as I am about to press them in my book, and I don't want to ruin the pages of my book. So as I set them down, the paper towel of course soaks up the water, and you can have flowers so that they're not too wet. Trying to do this as fast as possible, but I do want to be very careful with these flowers so that they don't get damaged. Alright, now that I have my flowers on the paper towel, I'm going to just move them over here a little bit, press them down, make sure that they have all of the water out of from the container off the stems and stuff so they can be pressed. Now I have my parchment paper here. Like any parchment paper you can use, and I have my textbook that I will be putting the parchment paper in so that they will not stick to the pages. Now I'm going to take my textbook and open it to a random page. This page happens to be on poppies. Now I'm going to take this parchment paper and I'm going to take half of it. I'm only going to use one sheet per page of pressing, and I'm going to lay it in the seam of the book so that it stays better. And then I'm going to take the flowers and start laying them out and pressing them, but that I'm going to time lapse that so it doesn't take as long. Alright, now that I have my flowers in the book pressed, I'm going to put my other textbooks on top so that they will press, because you need to have a heavy weight on top like I had mentioned earlier. Now if you want to put a rock on it, you can put a rock on your textbook if you need, or other heavy items, but you're going to want to make sure if you have your textbook that you're going to put something under it so that the rock does not scratch the cover of the book. Now, when you are pressing flowers in a textbook, you're going to want to make sure that you leave them for about 3 months so that your flowers will press, and it's important that you don't check on them or your flowers might get bent, and it's very important that you do this because they will bend out of shape. So thank you. Have fun.